Yes, thank you. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah. That's good to hear. Voice, yes. Let's put on my name. The other day. So we're entering an age where we're past the iPad generation and the voice first generation is here. There are kids who are now for the first time starting on their bike and not braking like we are used to, but saying, hey bike, stop, brake. Can you imagine that? That kids don't know how to operate machinery anymore because they're used to talking to things? This is where we are today. This is voice. And later I'll show you some numbers and I'll show what we can do. But let's first do a little bit of an introduction. So who of you has talked to a device, anyone, which device you can come up with last year, last month, last week, today? Ah, very good. This is an average now, so this is going well. So I've been doing it now for 4 years. I was lucky enough to get the first Amazon Echo device 4 years ago. I was in the beta program. And by the way, voice is my 5th new medium. I started out with the web in '94 when Shell Research still existed, which is now a disco tower. That's where I came, my first one. And yes, I've been to my floor and it's really weird to be there now. So for me, two years ago, I was like, you know what, I'm ready for something new. And I looked at that speaker at home, and I also looked at this. This. It's Lola and Ruby, my 2 daughters.
No! Alexa, turn the lights off. I just saw Alexa, turn the lights off. Oh, Alexa.
Really always peaceful at home. But you get the point. I mean, voice is so easy. All the kids get it already. It's now up to us to really use it in another way. And so why is voice really so important now for us? Well, apart from what we can do, we've always talked. It's the most natural interface that we have for over 50,000 years. So it's only logical that we prefer that instead of some clunky typing machines or anything else. And if you look at just the computer iteration of interfaces, it started out with the command line, character mode, the graphical user interface. Anybody know Ventura? It's for you, Jos. Yes. The web, mobile, we have a lot to do with that, with apps and all that, those kind of things. And just think about it. I have 3 banks for several businesses and my personal life. Every time I need to check my account, I have to do another action, another button, another process. While the function that I'm looking for is the same. Why the F is that? That's why I like voice, or voice user face interface. Yes, that it is. That's what it is. So this is what's been happening. Every almost 10 years, a new interface is being added. And voice will be the next thing. And that is what we're doing here. And why is it well, or why do we like it? Because it's quicker, in short. When I type, it's slower than 41 words per minute. When I talk, it could actually be faster, okay? Yeah, why go so slow when you can do it faster? And the technology now is able to catch up, to understand us and use us. Just the other day, again, I wanted to talk to my computer because I didn't want to type in the search query I had for Google. And there wasn't a quick way to do that. And if you look at the numbers, voice has the quickest adoption globally. If you look at all the countries, in the US it's been now for 4 or 5 years, and the middle one is the millions. 74 million people are using voice there. China, even more, that's urban China. The UK, 12 million, almost 13. Oh, he's saying no about that. We can get to that later. Germany, almost 12.
Amazing.
I've done a lot of new media. I remember AR, I was very early with that. This is the first medium that literally is at my feet as in emergence, as in adoption. I've never been with something that nobody really knew on one hand, but was getting so hot on the other hand. And that again is why I'm excited. And just the other week we had the first Dutch research that said 40,000 households in Holland have a speaker now.
400,000.
Thank you. And I got mail. 400,000, yes, 5% of the Dutch household. In 4.5 months. 4.5 months. And then almost 500,000. That's not bad. So if you want to start, and this is what we talk a lot with companies about, then what do you do? So what if you say as a company, you know what, I'm ready, I believe it, and whatever else, let's start exploring it. Actually, we have some people in the room that did that already, that started exploring. You basically have 4 ways to start exploring, 4 opportunity lenses you can look at from your company's point of view to see where to start. The first one is customer service. What top 5 questions could you turn into a voice automated system? And I'm not talking IVR, if you're familiar, or if you know that. No, I'm talking modern systems that can handle the dialogue. And if you want to do something else, you can actually ask your customer, what would they do? What would they like at home to do with you? What do they say? How do they, activate? The third one, if you want to try voice out, is brand creative. So you have a branding campaign, whatever it may be, running with your company. You already have 100,000 spent on commercials and whatever else. Then it's probably very easy to add a voice service to that. And lastly, this is kind of like my favorite, is design fiction. We heard that earlier. And basically, you know as a company, it's going to be like that. Whatever that is, that's what it's going to be. And then you have the budget and the balls to put the resources behind it and really go for it. And some companies are doing it. Talpa, in my belief, is doing it right now. They're here in the room. KLM is doing it. Albert Heijn is doing it here as well, but let's go into some examples here. So who of you know Rabobank and has known that they are the world's first account checker, saldo checker? Yay! So we see how much money I have today? Let's do that. Let's see.
Kijk me.
Let's do a live demo. Why not? Praat met Rabobank. Hoeveel geld heb ik?
Op dit moment staat er €6768,57 op je rekening.
Biertje van Maarten.
I'm just still amazed because 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I had him on my podcast. And I did not even know myself that no other bank in the world has made this capability available via voice.
Can you transfer the money to my account now?
No, not yet. No. They're smart about it. It doesn't work on the speakers, for instance, because then it could be public. And and this is an example of what is the most often thing asked from your company. And account balance is checked 5 to 6 million times a day. I asked the people from Rabo yesterday, this is the amount. So how much time does it save to do it this way? And how much easier is it when you're doing your dishes to ask, hey, what's my account? Did they pay, basically? That's my old BV being filled up with my last gig. So that's an example. Another one is user research. So this is a flip story, as in I'll tell you what you don't want to happen. David Lowe, he used to be actually one of the leading engineers for Amazon here in Europe around voice. Well, and now he's at BBC. And before that, he had his own ticket booking company. So you could book a plane ticket through his web service. And 4 years ago, he heard about voice. He's a good nerd. He was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to build the largest. Oh, thank you, Marna. She's actually here.
Yeah, I'm sharing the picture now.
So he created the largest flow chart you can imagine to how do you book a ticket, where you're going, where do you want to sit, what time is going to leave, etc., etc. Thank you again, Marna. And then he went live after 3 months of hard work. And what happened? 70% of his use case was only one question. Where can I go for £300? So instead of asking his customers what they wanted, he thought he knew what to do, and therefore wasted 3 months of work. And this is what happens a lot currently in companies. So this is where voice really is that accelerator for transformation. Really involve those users and be smart about it. So uncover your key question. The other one, this is a brand creative one. Alping is a Dutch mattress brand, very classic, has been almost 200 years in Deventer. Who knows Deventer?
Yeah.
And they had a big brand campaign where they wanted to move away. Our mattress is softer, our mattress is cheaper, all kinds of functional, low variables that all the other mattress companies go for. And they wanted to talk love. That's really fun. I should turn it off, but it's too fun. Where they really go into their brand, like how important your bed is, not just for sleeping, for cuddling, for making more kids, for all kinds of fun things, but also for kids, as in tell them bed stories. So when they were working on this branding campaign, they added the voice campaign where there's a children's story. So you can say, praat met Alping, and thank you, Sean. Yeah, you can listen to a children's story. Very nice, well produced, and just it's not even that expensive if you compare it to the main branding campaign costs. Very nice way. Then we come to my favorite, which is now not loading. Come on. No. Yeah. There we go. My favorite. And this is one of the most complicated ones currently in Holland. This is KLM, and this is their backend. So KLM already a year and a half ago started with voice. They just had a packing service. Now they have almost a whole customer journey available in voice. And what you see here is not their design of how the dialogue went, that's something to talk about. But this is all the APIs that they expose to do that customer journey in voice, in a conversation. So you can get inspiration because they have a machine for it. Of course you can do the booking. So David Lowe doesn't need to do all the work. You can get help packing, and yet I don't need that, by the way, but somebody yesterday I met was really happy with it. I'm like, okay. So, and it's not one. And then of course the departure, how's it going to go? Is something cancelled? What gate should I be? And it's integrated even with AR. Yes, we do like AR still. And yeah, you can find exactly where you need to go. So they are seriously investing in creating a good voice experience. They see it as an important new channel. And again, I said earlier, Talpa, who is here, a good example as well, because they did their transformation and now they can almost easily create a Spotify-like service on all their radio stations, like who's playing now, what's next, what came before, etc., etc. So those are the 4 paths. So how can we help you? So what do I do for people and want to do even more? Well, first off, we need to be able to do it. So this is the technologies we are working with or we are discovering. First off, cloud-based. New one is Bixby. Who knows Bixby? Some people, nice. So just for people that don't know, Bixby is the assistant, the Alexa from Samsung. They announced the new version last November. And what's interesting about it, it's not just going to be in your TV, your fridge, etc., etc. It's built by the old Siri developers. So this is a 2nd generation platform already, which is very important if you look at the architecture. And they really are doing some impressive stuff. The thing is, it's not really available yet, let alone in Holland. So we need to see the proof in the pudding. But if you look at just the paperwork and the presentations, it's really impressive. One of my personal things now is offline voice services. Snips is an example of that. Xmos is an example of that. They literally build the chip or design the chips that you can put in your speaker if you have one as a producer, or if you have a light switch on and off. Why just have that whole Google service behind it when you can the thing can understand that already? So recently I did a very nice proposal for, let's call it low-end, high-volume cars, where you can just have simple car services for $10 enhanced with voice in these cheap cars. And that's an awesome use case and a business case.
So Maarten, where is Apple in this whole story?
Oh, good one. I didn't do that. Very good. Because they're not really open. As in, I can't create a voice service on the Apple platform. They do have Siri, but again, we can't access it with the Node service, for instance, or the Mindspace service. And just a little bit of a backstory there. The last company that the founder bought, what's his name, Steve Jobs, was Siri. Because 10 years ago, 12 years ago, he knew voice was the next generation after mobile, which of course is part of his legacy. And then the other guy came by, who was great at ERP, and it kind of, the priority kind of got underneath on the pile. And now slowly they're realizing it. And you see some hiring and stuff like that. And of course, you know, the next OS for them shouldn't be iOS or whatever. It should be Voice OS or Siri OS. That's what the voice community says. But Apple also has its own timing. Look at mobile. Who here had a a BlackBerry? BlackBerry people? Yes. Nokia. What do you have now? Neither. Did you have an iPhone? And so they'll take their time whenever they're ready. It doesn't matter. They can still take that market because everything is now either Android or iPhone. So yes, we are impatient, we the front runners, because that's what we are.
Although in the home, it might be a different story.
I don't know. I didn't prepare that here, but we could go into discussion later if I want to stay on time. Yes, thank you. I looked at you. Yeah, but Apple is very. Apple will come, and I'll give you the short one. I think Samsung and Apple have the best cards to beat Android and iPhone for voice, because they know devices, they know platform, they know privacy, they know context, and all the other ones. Amazon is a groenteboer. Who knows groenteboer? And Google, they're good nerds, but they still are an ad business. And so even though they don't want to be bad and they don't want to be evil, sometimes it will slip in. So in the end, we won't trust them.
And also you need a device to talk to, right? So they have to sell the device.
Yeah. So if you look at what I've been doing the last year, two years, and what the industry has been doing, most of the work has been discovery. As in, people don't know what it is. It's an emerging young channel, and the realization literally that the channel is getting to Earth. That's not happening as much as we want. Now it's getting into the millions, hundreds of millions, and so slowly now it's happening. But most of our work, me and Neos, before, was in discovery. We did workshops, we did some prototyping, we did a lot of talking, a lot of podcasts and events, as people know. And now with Nodes, we're really excited that we really are ready now for that next phase with realization, because that's what these 800 developers and designers all over the world can do for us, or with us. So this is also, if you just, and I'm not doing the whole thing, just the voice proposition. I mean, what we start with, let's start with a health check. How are you doing? How's your culture? How are your APIs? Do you have enough budget and resources to really put into this data, in this movement? What opportunity would you have if you start voice? And then, of course, the inspiration, what we really do a lot. And then strategy. Think, where should you start? What's a smart strategy? KLM has its strategy, Talpa has its strategy now that they're really seriously investing in it. And then of course the prototyping, the actual design and delivery of the actual services. What is also very interesting in voice is that SEO, so making sure that your voice service is found, or your website is found in voice, very important. It's young, but it's still very important. And at the right time, you want to do the right thing.
How do you claim that?
What?
How do you claim, for example, the word that you want to be found on?
Claiming is a view, on one hand, like why me on a horse and carriage, a car is like a horse and carriage with a motor, so it's an old way of looking at it. On the other hand, the card is not really emerged yet. So yes, we want to claim, because that's what we're used to with the SEO world. The market is so fragmented yet, I wouldn't even worry that much about it. It's nice to play that game, and you can spend some good money on it. You also, of course, need to figure out, for instance, if your brand name is called something like Juk, and people don't, or the machine doesn't really understand it well. But it's all very young, so you don't really need to worry about it. So don't go out of, or don't go discovering out of fright or out of defense. Go because you can see the value and can offer it to your customer. That's where you will win, not the other way around. But you do have to do it, that's why I put it in. And you need to promote it, get your users, make sure that you have the right snippets, that's how it's called. So when you ask Google, And just to give you an example, in the US it's 65% Alexa. How do you optimize for Alexa? Nobody knows. Well, there's some
Well, there are
information.
some people
Yeah.
who know.
But it's really hard and you can't control it. And another thing, and that's also why I like the offline voice, it's a red ocean. It's owned by Google and Alexa. So don't go crazy about it, because I don't know if you can buy it. Anyway, do that, and once you have it working, you want to really integrate it, not just on an IT level, but also on an organizational level. And then you scale it. You do your bowling alley first, the first bowling alley, then the second, and the third, etc., etc. And of course, monitoring and management. So this is what we all do, continuously all the time. I so love looking this up. Now, who do we do it with? Yes, some people recognize some people. I call us the voice force because it's fun to name a team. It's very important to name a team. So we're doing stuff that nobody really probably has done in your organization in whatever way. So Nails is really good at making sure that we do the right process, the right motion, literally to discover what we want to do and how we should do it and do the right prototypes. Emil, who's over there? Hi Emil. He makes sure that it actually gets built. One of our first customers here, who you'll see later, Boom Chicago, the second day, his first prototype was ready, and it was already getting elapsed. We'll explain why later, because it was funny, it should be. But that really worked well, and he really knows his stuff there. Of course, me talking way too much, and I'll stop soon. And Andrew, who is also the founder of Boom Chicago, who helps us with the dialogue writing and things like that, which is very important here. And as an improv writer, because that's his background, he is so impressively sharp, so we're really happy with that. And apart from that, we have specialists in audio branding and stuff like that who really know their stuff, and we just basically know whoever we need to add on to make this a good project. Apart from just the massive scaling and economies that we have with Monster as a whole group. So, okay, but did you do this already, you wonder maybe? Well, yeah, we did for a bit. So these are all the companies we worked for the last 2 years, and this is what we're bringing in as an experience. On the discovery side, this is all talks, workshops, stuff like that. This is all what we have in development currently, prototypes, things like that. This is fun. This is all what is happening. Oh, these are not voice services. These are all media that we created to learn and gather people around the emerging channel. So this is our foundation of experience that we create and add value with. In short, now let me bridge this to the next part. Hint, hint.
The next part.
So when we started out a month and a half ago, I heard about this project that and this group of improv professionals, and I have a pet peeve. I love Saturday Night Live. I've seen all of them, even the first ones, and I bought the CDs of the full episodes in the first years, and they were boring. But I did try to watch them. And so when I heard that Boom Chicago was looking for help to create an improv-like actor, they didn't really know what yet, we said, well, maybe we can help because we want to get going. And so our first emerging project was with them. And I don't know how much grass I'm taking away from them to intro, but in short, we created the Anya, which is the artificial, non-intelligent improv actor, where a lot of lines and funny lines are fed into the machine, and the machine is now part of a big show which will be launching anytime soon. But with this, I think Dave could probably take over the show.
I'm going to turn on the sign.
I take over the sign. Oh, perfect.
Put your hands together.
Thank you.